I mean, I guess it's been a while since I've done an episode of Tag Back, but what blaster from the past could I possibly take a look at to see what it could offer us today in the present?
サバゲーって面白いんだけど、当たると結構痛いよね。
Go on.
こんな格好や、こんな格好でも場所を選ばずに一緒に遊ばない？
If that's not enough, do you accept PayPal? Tek Recon is an interesting beast. I remember when this originally came out, it's only been like 5-6 years now, but it's a competitor to NERF that was a Kickstarter that turned into a full product that you could buy at like Walmart and Target and Kmart and stuff like that. And yet it failed miserably on its face as far as I know, and disappeared off the face of the planet before even the third blaster in the line could come out, because we have, of course, the Hammerheads here, then there's the Havoc, which we'll take a look at in just a second, but there was supposed to be a third one called the Predator, which I believe was announced at like a toy fair or something like that, New York Toy Fair, something along those lines, and yet mysteriously never showed up. And then the next time I saw Tek Recon, it was this cute video.
体に弾が当たるとヒット。自己宣言をしてフィールドから退場。最後まで残ったチームが勝ち。服や銃に当たってもヒット。もちろん猫耳に当たってもダメだにゃー。
You can't blame me for that one. I am a very, very simple man. And these were meant to be a competitor to NERF. They were kind of the answer. They were a Kickstarter, which raised quite a lot of money. Not enough to make a blaster in my opinion, but they made a lot of money and they had a lot of nifty, cool features. And people didn't really like them. I guess they just didn't really sell well. And that probably has something to do with the fact that in time-honored tradition, when you make something that is meant to be kind of the younger shooting sports kind of thing with foam darts and stuff like that, generally deviating from said foam dart is a recipe for disaster, and this is what the Tek Recon fired. Yep, they were glorified rubber band shooters. That's seriously it. They shot little tiny rubber band-like things. It wasn't exactly pointless or anything, because they hit a pretty good distance, and I mean, you can kind of feel when these things hit you. I mean, we should probably take a look at one of the blasters. This was the double pack that you could buy. There were Kickstarter exclusive ones. In fact, I know Psych has some kind of rare, one-of-a-kind version of one of these blasters, but they are a pistol that originally you had like a cell phone mount, which we'll talk about later, but the base blaster here, it's got a mag release in the trigger guard because the magazine goes in the grip, which is something that we've been trying to do as a community for quite some time now. And it's got an exceptionally long trigger pull with some kind of recoil action. And then it's also got this weird goofy thing up front, which you think would be some kind of laser aiming module, and nope, it's just another way to prime the blaster if you really wanted to. Interesting ideas. And yes, it had a magazine. I actually don't know how many rounds these things hold, and I don't think I have enough of these rounds right now to see exactly how many they hold, but I'm gonna guess like 15 to 20. Actually, you know what? Let's actually try to fill up this magazine. I'm going to say about 25 rounds, but the idea here is you load the magazine into the grip. It's weird that the magazine is springy. I'm not quite sure why it does that. And it's actually got a, like, strength selector on the side right here. So we're going to put that at the minimum because the trigger pull is monstrous, because you're basically with one finger stretching a rubber band back and then having it release and shoot out the barrel, which means there's a lot of dead space in this blaster because all the action's happening right back here. So all of this is essentially pointless. Oh, that one bounced off somewhere. Let's try. There we go. And it flings them out quite violently, and we can set it to the max setting, much like a Snapfire 8, and holy crap! I mean, that's a long trigger pull, but there we go. That was a little bit better. Maybe that one snagged. You get the idea. Semi-auto, as fast as you can pull the trigger with a pretty decent-sized magazine. I mean, these things should have been a lot of fun. I've never fired them at range, so I'm having an idea that maybe these things weren't very accurate and didn't fly very straight or very far, but it's a nifty, cool idea. And then, of course, if you didn't want to use just the monstrously long trigger, you could two-hand it and prime it back like that and fire more. So you could slam fire it essentially, which is kind of cool. The idea with the phone holder is that you could put your phone in here, download an app, because of course the one thing we want is for all of our blasters to be connected to our cell phones, and you'd have like a little heads-up display with little filters and a camera for recording and all that stuff, and of course team chat. And there were even game modes like Capture the Flag, where if you were to highlight over a QR code, then it would capture the flag and you'd win the game, and it would tell everybody else you won the game. So honestly, they were a pretty decently cool idea, but this was not the only thing in the line, because the real reason you probably saw this and wanted it at some point was because of this behemoth. This is one of the coolest looking blasters I have ever seen. I actually have multiple of these Havoc stocks because I really like this stock. Come off, please? Maybe? I'll give you a Scooby snack. Thank you. See, it's always the Scooby snack. That's how you get it done. It's an adjustable stock that really only clicks into the outward position. It's got a nice rubbery butt pad on there that's extremely comfortable. If you ever find one of these, I highly recommend picking them up. And yeah, it's same kind of feature, except for this one has a pump grip built into it now. A very, very long trigger pull. I do believe this one hits harder. It has a distance measure right here, so you could have more distance or rapid fire, or if you just have strong fingers, both. And a gigantic magazine. And I do mean gigantic. I don't exactly know how many rounds this is supposed to hold. I do have an upgrade, like a refill pack that comes with one of these magazines and 72 rounds. So either one side holds 72 or both sides together hold 72. I'm not entirely sure. All of these rounds were found inside of this magazine, so I assume that it just holds a monstrous amount of them because it's also a flip clip. So you can reload one side, reload both sides, and while you're in the middle of shooting, you can just grab it, flip it around, put it in the right orientation, there we go, and have a really quick reload with tons of ammo, which is really cool because of course these rounds are small and they stack together very easily, which is awesome. I think that's a really nifty feature, and I should try to see exactly how well this thing shoots. So as you use the Tek Recon rounds, they do tend to get kind of sticky, and there was a solution to that. I remember reading either on the back of a package or somewhere on the internet that you're supposed to use cornstarch. You're supposed to just kind of toss the rounds in cornstarch to make them less sticky again and work perfectly fine. We'll throw this into the Havoc here, put the stock back on it because it would be a shame not to, and do a test fire. Again, monstrous trigger pull, and that was on rapid. Oh god, okay, alright, here we go, we got this. I wonder what the difference in velocity is. This isn't going to be comparable to NERF or anything like that, but let's see what the difference is between rapid and distance. Put it on rapid. Let's try that again. Well, that says 30.8, 39.3, 37.7. Flip it to distance. 33, 60, 55, 68. So yeah, it actually almost doubles the distance, these things, but yeah, it's a monstrously difficult trigger pull. If you have this on the distance, you're most likely going to want to use the pump grip on there. So they're rather interesting little blasters, and we could already tell what exactly is the reason this thing failed, and it's a shame because it's actually pretty cool. But of course, these were picked up by Takara Tomy and sold in Japan. All the Tek Recon and everything's still emblazoned on it, which is a rather interesting and neat idea. I have no idea how well it sold over there. If there's anybody who happens to be in Japan that knows this, if you can go down to your local toy retailer and pick one of these things up still, I'd love to hear it. I want to know if these things ever took off there, because, I mean, this is an interesting relic of the entire hobby. But I think the main question is, of course, what does it offer us up today? Well, when it comes to the Hammerhead, I honestly don't know how to answer that question. It's a cool looking pistol, but unless you have the ammo, unless you want to run the ammo, unless somebody can feel the ammo hitting them, I don't really see what this would be useful for. It's, you would think maybe like putting some kind of small short dart magazine or something in there, but that's too small of a magwell to even attempt to do something like that. So that wouldn't be very good at all. But what about the big old Havoc here? Well, this is a really big shell, so there's a lot of things you can do. There's a ton of room up here for you to put something like flywheel cages and whatnot inside of it. The stock, you could rip that off and put it on something, which I actually recommend you do, because this stock, it's a little wobbly on this blaster because it just doesn't have a very good connection right there, but you could fix that. I mean, if you're already gonna rip this off and put it on like a Nerf blaster, you can fix things. And I really think this stock is amazingly comfortable and good. There is one interesting thing about this though, because that's a pretty big magwell. This is a Worker Dominator 40 dart mag. Yeah, it actually is the perfect size. Which, that's crazy cool to me. That is a really interesting development. Meaning, if you really wanted to, and I trust me, I do, I'm gonna have to sit on this and think about it, but if you wanted to shove like a solenoid in here, find a place for the battery, probably somewhere up here, I would guess, is a good place to kind of build a shell and put some kind of battery connector up there, and throw a flywheel cage or 3 in here, and then just build a magazine release, because this does click into place. This is not coming out. You actually have to rock it loose. Again, rather interesting development. You could convert this thing into being a Dominator that nobody else would ever have. Well, unless you saw this video and you did it and then I did it, or vice versa. So this does have some potential, not in the way that you would expect being a Tek Recon shooter, but for a shell to reuse for something, it's really good. I love the paint schemes they have going on with these. They do have both sides of the shell painted. Take note, Hasbro. And they have this carbon fiber kind of decal on it. It's not real carbon fiber, obviously, in some places to break up this shiny gloss. Like, the overall look of this blaster is fantastic. The Havoc is one of my favorite blaster looking things I have ever seen, and I really want to use this shell for something. It is kind of a brittle plastic. I've seen quite a few of these. I've actually had 2 of these where this rail has been broken up here, but it's really nice. It's just, yeah, I wouldn't want to drop this on the ground. I don't know if I'd trust 3D printed stuff or this plastic to hold up more. It's got like a pearlescent effect to it. It's just cool, man. I really like this blaster. I want to do something with it in the future. And if you ever do find one, well, you can still get refill packs online. In fact, the one refill pack I have was given to me by my friend Jaxmay, who bought it off eBay. And you can pay about $10 per 50 rounds pretty much right now for one of the little tubes that you'd see on an end cap or something hanging up at Kmart, because that's where I remember seeing them before. But honestly, it's probably not worth it. It's not a great blaster. They're not very accurate. They kind of work, but I don't think you'd really feel these things that much at range or anything like that. I think it would just be a minor annoyance than anything. And of course, there's really not a whole lot of mod potential here. It's pretty much already done as much as it can. It's just stretching a rubber band out and then flicking it forward, which you can do with your fingers, or you can buy one of those wooden rubber band guns that I think just about everybody had when they were a kid before they got into something like this. Or at least that was me. I never had Nerf blasters, but man, rubber band guns, I was all over that. Let me know what you think about Tek Recon down in the comment section below, and yes, I will have a link to that video, again, down in the comment section below, if I can still find it. I downloaded that video a very, very long time ago, so hopefully it hasn't been removed off YouTube yet. But other than that, I'm Walcom S7, thank you very much for watching this video, and of course, I hope to see you in an entirely different one.
You gotta up,